I call the February 12th meeting of the Citizens Advisory Committee to order. First order of business is citizens with CAC business to present to the CAC. Seeing none, we will move on to year 44 CDBG subrecipient application presentations. Good evening. I am Chad Kiefer, and it is my pleasure to serve as the current chairperson of the CAC. Tonight we will hear presentations by the agencies who are applying for year 44 Community Development Block Grant or CDBG funds. CDBG funds are provided to the city by the federal government Department of Housing and Urban Development. I want to thank each presenter for taking their personal time to make their presentations on behalf of their organizations and the individuals and families they represent and serve. I would like to go over a few basic ground rules we will follow this evening. Number one, I would ask everyone with a cell phone or other electronic device to please turn them off or place them in a silent mode. I'll remind each presenter that you have a 5-minute time limit for your presentations, and that includes time for any guests or other presenters you may have with you. If you did bring a guest, I ask that you allow your guests to address the CAC first. Dawn Cameron will keep track of the time with a timer you will be able to see. When your time is expired, you will hear a beep. If you have any handouts, please give them to Dawn, and she will distribute them to CAC members after presentations. The presentations are being videotaped and can be seen on the Government Access channel at a later time. They will also be posted on the city's website. At the conclusion of your presentation, there will be an opportunity for members of the CAC to ask questions. I remind everyone that each CAC member has reviewed each application individually, and we have met together at a work session with staff for clarification of questions we have or to ask additional information. Many of you have received these questions and have responded to them. Thank you for your timely responses. I mention this to assure you that there is no reason for concern if you do not get any questions tonight. Conversely, if you do get questions tonight, it merely means a member has come up with a question they had not previously thought of, or possibly they would like clarification on something in your presentation tonight. We will proceed with the presentations in the order shown on the agenda. I would ask each presenter to give your name and the agency or organization and program you are presenting. With that said, I will ask the members of the CAC to introduce themselves, starting on my right with Jim Hepner.
I'm Jim Hepner, and I've been appointed to the CAC by Alderman at Large Kyle Grip.
Salvador Lopez, I'm with the CAC for 10 years.
Hi, I'm Tammy Lord, and I was appointed by the 1st Ward Alderman.
Hello, my name is Joseph Obleton, and I was appointed by the mayor.
Hi, I'm Christina Kelly.
Hello, I'm Mark Holloway, and I was appointed by Mayor Frank Clips.
I'm Elizabeth Hodges, and I was appointed by Ray Ambrose.
Good evening. I'm Fred Klassen. I was appointed by Alderman Madsen.
Thank you. Before we proceed with the presentations, Fred Klassen of the CAC will address applicants on behalf of the CAC.
Members of the Citizens Advisory Committee, city staff, all present here tonight, and everyone watching on television are very much aware of the efforts at the federal level to control spending and to work toward a balanced federal budget. While these goals are very commendable and understandable, it does raise a concern about the future of the Community Development Block Grant, or the CDBG program as we refer to it. The program has experienced significant funding reductions in recent years. The current year's grant represents a 45% cut from the high point of the CDBG program and is the lowest amount received since federal fiscal year 1987. Additional cuts are not out of the question. A factor of the block grant program, perhaps not widely recognized or understood, is the reporting requirements of the Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, which oversees the program. The federal agency requires detailed, timely reporting of funding uses and expenditures Failure of a participant to fully comply with accurate and timely reporting criteria could possibly be a factor in determining future funding allocations. With that said, the CAC wants to emphasize to all participants in the CDBG program the importance of accurate, prompt reporting to the city staff and why increased emphasis is being placed on these matters with program recipients and will be emphasized with future applicants. Because of the federal funding climate, in addition to considering the need for and the merits of the programs and services applying for funding, the CAC must also take into account each applicant's timeliness and accuracy in reporting on the use of funds, as well as their overall regulatory compliance. The CAC has requested from the city staff information regarding past compliance of currently funded applicants. That data will be used to evaluate each agency's capacity and record in managing CDBG funds and in complying with CDBG regulations. So basically what it means is what you've done in the past is going to impact what you will receive in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Fred. We will begin with our first presentation from Family Resources.
Hello, my name is Allie Brokaw. I am the Domestic Abuse Survivor Services Supervisor at Family Resources, and I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Tanya.
Good evening. My name is Tanya Kearney. Where do I begin? The services from Family Resources has been a very big help to me. Excuse me, I'm sorry. I was with a man that I knew from high school, and we ended up getting married, and everything was fine. And then, months into our marriage, he was physically abusive. He yelled at me, degraded me, called me anything that he could think of. And I said, enough is enough. I can't do it anymore. I'm 47 years old. I'm a mother of a single child, and I need a life to live. I need to move on for myself. And I told myself I will never go back to a man like that again, because a woman in my age, or any age, does not need to be put through this process. It hurts. I mean, he's called me stupid, retarded. You're never going to amount to nothing. You're a worthless piece of garbage. He would make me call him every day, 3 times a day, when I was on my job, whether I was working or not. He made sure I called, and I said, I can't do this every day. You have hurt me to the utmost core. And as of today, I have moved on. I'm living my life, taking care of my family, and I'm actually going to think about going back to school to pursue a career in healthcare, because I want people to know that whether you're not going to school, whether you're a single mom, whatnot, you can get out of these relationships. Don't be a victim. Be a person that you can be. Stand on your own and do what you can do for yourself. No woman needs to be treated like garbage. And with the order of protection, Natalie was a big help to me. I said, I needed to get this order of protection against him because I knew how violent he was. He had knives in my house. I was scared to death of this man. I didn't know. So I said, okay, I'm going to go get an order of protection. I got a temporary one. We went to court. He tried to fight me on it. They favored in my favor for it. So I've got an order of protection for a whole year against him. I got him kicked out of my father's home. He's tried and tried and tried to call me, and I won't answer his phone calls. I won't answer none of his messages. He goes through my friends to try to get to me, and I'm not going to let that man break me ever again, because I am a strong woman. My dad has always told me, stand on your own 2 feet. Be the woman that you're supposed to be. Don't be somebody's doll. Be a human. Stand up for yourself. So I tell every woman, if you ever in a relationship like that, please go to Family Resources. Ask for help. They will help you get the necessary means to get an order of protection. They are there to help you, not to turn you away. Be there. They are there to help. That's all I ask. Just go to Family Resources. They're a great help. And now, actually, also filed for divorce against this man. And it's great. I am doing the best that I can every day, not working, but I take care of my father. I'm an in-home caregiver for my dad right now because his health is deteriorating. My husband was taking care of him at that time. My father was failing tremendously. Now that I'm there, he's getting 3 square meals a day. He's getting walks. I talk to him every day. Yeah, my father and I argue, but you know what? That's what daughters and fathers do. And I love it. I love being with my dad. That's the best job for me right there. That's what's prompting me to go back into wanting me to go in the healthcare field and be a CNA, work in a hospital, and take care of people. Because my dad has told me, you are a strong, strong woman. Don't let nobody push you down. If they push you down, pick yourself back up and do what you got to do for yourself.
So what Tanya talked about was our legal advocate. That legal advocate really assists survivors of violence that come in by navigating the legal process and helping wrap services around them. The Crime Victims Assistance Division did a needs assessment with survivors of violence, and a lot of survivors said that the process of getting services after their assaults was difficult. But the survivors that said that it was easy all mentioned that they had an advocate that assisted them. So we see that those advocacy services are making a difference.
Thank you. Any members have any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your time. Our next presenter will be Vera French.
My name is Marc Cummings, and I wanted to just take a couple of minutes and kind of give you a sense of what we're doing by talking about a composite client. This particular person had been very stable for more than a decade, lived by himself in his own apartment, and picked up his meds on a weekly basis and took them fairly faithfully. He recently started to go through a bad period where he was experiencing confused thinking and increased anxiety, and he checked himself into a local psychiatric ward. And when he came back out, we were working with him, and it became clear that he wasn't stabilizing. Now, it's difficult to say exactly what went wrong. Sometimes a medication will stop working for a person after a long period of time, and then we have to try other medications, and a new medication is a matter of trial and error. What might work for me might not work for someone else. So we were working with him for stabilization. We usually, most of the folks who are covered in the grant are people who don't need a lot of service and they're experiencing a great deal of stability. Our job is to spend time working with them and monitoring them, helping them to stay stable, and then if they get into a crisis mode, being there for them. In this particular case, we ended up spending a great deal of time. Normally we check in with people a couple of times a month on the grant if they're stable. This particular individual, we were working with him up to 15 times a month for a short period of time. We found out that his thinking was too disorganized to shop independently, for instance. He couldn't put the list together, go to the store, get what he needed. So we assisted him with that. We started to negotiate with him and talk about driving, and he decided that we decided together that he would surrender his car keys until things got stable because he wasn't really safe on the road. Eventually, he checked into one of our residential care facilities where he's receiving full-time 24-hour-a-day service. Once he becomes stabilized, if things get back to the way they were, he'll transfer probably to a group home for a period of time, which is a lower level of care. And once he's proven that he's completely stable and back to where he used to be, he'll go back to get to an apartment of his own, and he'll become eligible for services under the grant again, because services for people in the grant are for people who are stable and in their own housing. So it's sort of a transition that some people go through. The bottom line is that it gives us a couple of the staff that are funded by the grant give us great flexibility so that when someone does get into a situation where suddenly they need a lot more help, in addition to stabilizing them or helping them to stay stable, we can devote a lot of hours to them and help them in getting their situation resolved one way or another. Does anyone have any questions?
All right, seeing no questions, thank you for your time. The next presenter is Friendly House.
My name is Lorelai Felts, and I'm the Executive Director at Friendly House. And we often say to you that, we work with families literally over their lifetimes. So nearly 30 years ago, I met a young man named Brian when I was working in daycare. And tonight I want to introduce you to Brian. I knew Brian's mother. His grandmother was part of our senior program, and I think this is a true example of how we really, over lifetimes, work with Friendly House families. So this is Brian and his daughter Brianna.
Hello, my name is Brian. I was a student. She was the family, not the family counselor, but the student counselor. Watching over the children. And back then, it was what's the old building called?
Friendly House.
No, is it still the Friendly House?
Oh yeah, now it's Cobblestone.
Oh, the Cobblestone Place. Yeah. So I have a lot of memories of being a child her age, and I'll tell you what, there's nothing that when I was a kid, I'm sorry. I grew up without a dad, and there was not a lot of structure in my life. And this place brought happiness and stability, and also, things to look forward to in life. And it helped me build, great character and stuff like that. And now I take my daughter here to the place now, and it's just amazing, picking her up every day. Like, I pick her up early, and she's like, "What are you doing? It's not 6 o'clock yet." And I'm like, so I've never heard a child, getting mad at their parent for picking them up early. So, they build bonds and a lot of friendships. And I can actually remember some people when I was there, as a business owner. I've walked into places and I've seen kids that were there with me, and I'm like, "Oh my God, how you doing? It's been a long time." And so it's a really nice thing to see later in life, the things that we learned over the years. So I want to have my daughter say something for you guys. Tell her what you guys learn there every day.
Sometimes over the summer we have this book club, and we read books, and it's a really fun time. And sometimes over the summers we would go to a swimming pool for a field trip, but sometimes if we get too laughable and playful, we don't earn it all the time. And we also have snack every day after school, and it's really fun there.
What's your favorite thing about the Friendly House?
I get to play with my friends.
And build relationships.
So one of the things, we also try and meet our families where they are. And last Monday, when everything shut down, is a perfect example of what we do. When everything shut down last Monday, we stayed open. And when schools close at noon, it's a giant issue for our families. They don't have the kind of jobs they can just drop everything and come get their kids. We had families calling. We went and picked up all those kids. We kept them safe. That's the kind of thing that I think Friendly House is a good example of it. We're trying to meet our families where they are and meet their needs and have programs that are affordable and accessible for them. Thank you for your support.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your time. Next presenter is Salvation Army.
Good evening. My name is Bill Horrell. I am the Development Director at the Salvation Army. With me tonight is Kelly Larned, our Director of Social Services, and she'll introduce our guest.
Good evening. This is Mark Carnes. He's with his the two children and the children's mother, and they entered into shelter, and now they are in our transitional housing program. So they've been through our steps, and I'll let him talk a few minutes.
Hey, my name's Mark. Me and my fiance Ivy came from drug and alcohol addiction, and my family gave up on us. And my daughter had said, "Dad, are you going to put Mikey and Luna, the two little ones, through the same thing that you put us through?" We didn't have a choice, Dad, so we picked a homeless shelter out away from Galesburg, and we came here, and the Salvation Army gave us every opportunity in the world to turn our lives around, and we did. And we took it, and we're not looking back. 6 months ago, my mom, I'm 57 years old, my mom told me she was proud of me. And I don't ever remember that going on before. And standing here today, me and Ivy are very proud of ourselves for what we've done. And if it wasn't for Salvation Army, we just wouldn't be good right now. And we've been there 8 months, and doing the right thing is hard, but it's, now I'm always going to be learning. And they gave us, like I said, they gave us all the opportunities in the world. They didn't force us to do anything. Here, it's all laid out on the table for you. It's up to you. And me and my girl, we threw ourselves in the corner. This is it. So thank you for your time.
So for the shelter, we house 15 families and 2 single women. So we have single parent families and 2 parent families that are housed there. For the caseworkers, they see the clients, the residents, every week. When they come in, we do get to know them. What are they wanting to accomplish here so they can be stable once they leave us. And so we set goals with them, be housing, if there's any mental health issues, childcare, finding a job, whatever it is, so that they can be stable and get back on their feet. And then if they do well, then they go into transitional housing. But so that is our main goal as the case manager, to get them stable and to work on the goals that they want to work on and get on their feet.
Some of the other stuff that we've last calendar year in the shelter, we served 174 adults, 265 children, served over 42,000 meals to individuals between January and December of last year. Distributed almost 1,500 food boxes for the holidays, which included staples for at least 3 meals. 1,565 families received Christmas toys valued at over $165,000 thanks to our Angel Tree program and donations from other individuals. Over 10,000 coats, winter clothing items were provided, valued over $90,000. This is for, without them, many children wouldn't have nice winter coats for the winter, and we all know the last week it's definitely been needed. Some of the challenges we've been facing, as Mr. Klass had said, declining federal, state, and local funds. We're seeing that all across the board. Maintaining the services and facilities, in particular our building up here at 6th and Harrison Street, to meet the needs, and the increased number of families and children in need of services, not just unemployed people, but the oftentimes forgotten about class is the working poor, and that's something that we really pride ourselves on in helping. So that's all I have. Any questions?
Seeing no questions, thank you for your time.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. The next presenter will be Project Renewal.
Good evening. Thank you for for your support in the past and your future consideration. Project Renewal is a great asset in our fragile Davenport neighborhood. Our mission gives love, stability, and hope for a meaningful future to many people. From our beginning in the 1970s, Project Renewal has been resilient and adaptable. As a grassroots organization that grew out of community concerns and volunteerism. When originally established, there were not as many social service agencies as we have now. Project Renewal then addressed a variety of issues, whether it was homelessness, elderly getting medical attention, transportation, and including youth lacking supervision and appropriate role models. After 20 years with an all-volunteer staff, Project Renewal Board of Directors reorganized to be able to continue meeting important needs of our community, responding directly to the input and needs of Davenport's residents at that time. Project Renewal Board of Directors expanded, did recruiting and fundraising to keep serving our community. Through this process, Project Renewal programming is more focused and in-depth, providing direct attention and care for individual children, youth in grades K through 12. Project Renewal services and vision has stayed consistent with its mission even during challenging economic times over the years. Our mission has thrived, continuing now going on 44 years, serving some of Davenport's most vulnerable residents. Our longevity confirms our sense of purpose when supporters are dedicated and become highly effective. Project Renewal's board members strategically make plans and uphold policies. The continuity and range of Project Renewal staff and volunteers promotes stability and helps withstand changing times. Our service is twofold. We help kids and help others learn to understand social concerns and promote peace and justice, helping strengthen community and awareness of one's surroundings. In addition to community members, many of our after-school helpers and summer program helpers are college students. Most make a 3 to 4 year commitment or longer. Even college students here temporarily have made financial investments in our community through Project Renewal. 3 years ago, when making renovations to Sister Concetta Park, which is owned and maintained by Project Renewal, Palmer College students raised over $65,000 to invest in our neighborhood park. Each spring, Project Renewal has a fundraising event. This is located purposefully in our city's fragile neighborhood that can easily be bypassed when it comes to promotion as a place for families or a place to visit. For 11 years, we held a 5K run walk to promote awareness of Project Renewal's services provided, promote healthy lifestyle choices among area youth and adults, and to hold a positive event in and for our surrounding neighborhood. The 5K was retired 3 years ago, and a new event created to fill the same purpose, Fit Fest. Fit Fest offers a variety of activities, exposure to new possibilities, reaches more populations, promotes family fun, togetherness, and teamwork, encouraging participation of all abilities, and is adaptable. Additionally, a large number of volunteers, neighbors, and community members participate and are in our neighborhood. Project Renewal's turnover rate of youth participants has become more stabilized in the last few years because more of our youth are staying with us longer as they get older. This is a positive, direct outcome to the effect we have on children, their families, and our community. The longer youth participate in Project Renewal's youth programs results in making a bigger positive impact. Again this year, 100% of our youth return to participate in our after-school program. With your help, we build on our strong foundation and continue the positive guidance we provide youth, including in grades 9 through 12, high school, giving them opportunities to choose classes carefully in high school, prepare for a meaningful career after high school, and further educational opportunities after high school. As it goes with work in nonprofits, funders can change priorities and decrease funds. Fortunately, CDBG funds allowable costs include salaries, utilities, insurance, and other operating expenses that securing funding can be more difficult, yet a priority to support mission work. Supporting Project Renewal's ongoing youth program is very important. As our program continues each year, funding support helps us maintain continuity and growth, strengthening relationships for youth. Thank you.
Thank you. Does anyone have any questions? Seeing none, thank you for your time.
Thank you.
The next presenter is Boys and Girls Club.
Good evening, everyone. I'm Liz Zimmerman. I'm with the Boys and Girls Clubs. I'm the Director of Programs and Compliance. And rather than have me tell you about the day, our days, I'm going to have my friend Devontrez here tell you about what it's like to be a member at the club.
Hello everyone, my name is Devontress Moore. I'm 10 years old and I've been a member of the Boys and Girls Club for 3.5 years, and I need to give a speech for the Boys and Girls Club. I like the Boys and Girls Club because it gives me something to do. It releases stress from my mom. The Boys and Girls Club does different things every day. Every Wednesday we go to the fellowship hall and Miss Tracy cooks dinner for us. Tuesdays and Thursdays is tutoring days, so tutors come down to get kids who need help with homework. If it is close to a holiday, we normally feast or have a party. I'm in Little Cookers, and last Friday we made tacos and hot cocoa with marshmallows. Miss Sharon and the staff try their best to get what we want. We dance step by step with Miss Esperanza. When the day comes, usually the gala, we dance on stage. At the Boys and Girls Club, we do computer games like Prodigy, Cool Math, and Math Playground. You can do Boys and Girls Club in the summer and school year. When we are in the gym, we play mat ball or knockout. Whatever the month is, and that's your birthday month, you get a treat on Friday. Then we sing the happy birthday song. The Boys and Girls Club is a fun place. Thank you for letting me speak to you today about the Boys and Girls Club.
I can't really top what he just said, but the funding that we've been asking for you for several years, and we're asking again, is for those staff. No one prompted Devontress on what he was writing. He wrote about the staff because that's our most important asset that we have with the Boys and Girls Clubs. I'm really glad Devontress is here today because next year he won't be here. He will be at our new Davenport Teen Center. While we're not asking for funding from the CAC about that this year, I want to make sure everyone is aware that we are growing. We've opened our new club in August at the J.B. Young Opportunity Center. We're already at maximum capacity. I originally had 2 staff. Now I have to hire my 4th. We've already added 40 teens, and that's all middle and high school age kids that now have programs that are specifically for them, a space that's specifically for them, and it's partly because of the ongoing support that we have for the Davenport Club that we're able to expand, especially with, unfortunately, the crime, juvenile crime that's been going on in Davenport lately, as well as the closing of some other after-school programs for that age group. So again, we really do greatly appreciate your support, and I'm happy to take any questions.
All right, seeing no questions, thank you for your time.
Thank you all very much.
Thank you. The next presenter is Humility of Mary Shelter and Housing. Not seeing them. The next is Big Brothers, Big Sisters.
Thank you for having us here tonight. I'm Sarah Walker with Big Brothers Big Sisters of the Mississippi Valley. I'm the Senior Director of Enrollment and Community Partnerships. Big Brothers Big Sisters is one-on-one mentoring. We serve about 650 youth each year. Over 200 of those are Davenport youth, and a little over that even, about 225, 230 of those are Davenport volunteers. So it's definitely a significant portion of our programming comes from Davenport. And to share a little bit more about what that match relationship is like, I have Barry and Brady, who have been matched in Big Brothers Big Sisters for about 2.5 years.
Thank you. Like she said, my name is Barry Cheney, and I'm going to do just a real quick intro on why I wanted to be a Big, and then I'll give you to Brady, and I'll explain some of the activities that we did. I grew up in Davenport my whole life. Went to JB in Davenport Central, graduated in 1978, and my life wasn't so easy as a kid, but I've made it. My parents were deaf mutes. My mom's sister was a deaf mute. My mom's brother was mentally retarded. My dad was violent and died at a young age of smoking and alcoholism. There were times when I went to Lincoln School that I would get home and have to sleep outside the apartment as a kid because I didn't know how to break in the window yet to get any sleep, but survived all that. Worked at Permar Security for over 10 years and then went to Frito-Lay and retired from there. Been married 36 years. So I could go on about a lot of things of why I wanted to be a volunteer. And after I retired, I'm like, I could be a big, and can I help out? And some of the things I see, and even with Brady down there, there's a lot of similarities and some things. But I want to introduce you. Brady, why don't you tell them who you are, where do you go to school, and some of the activities you do.
Hi, I'm Brady. I go to Smart Intermediate. I'm an 8th grader. Some of the things we do, we go for bike rides, for exercise. During the winter, we go to movies. We make like bottle rockets. I mean, not like, yeah, plastic bottle rockets, and we pump it with water.
Yeah, not explosive ones.
We do job activities. We go to the Big Brothers, Big Sister activities that are really fun, like the one that we just did, the putt-putt. And thank you.
I'm going to put you on the spot here, Brady. Is there, like, when you go to school or you go home, are there times like you get angry or what you need to do to chill out, or is there any way that I've helped you in any of that or give you any direction?
Yeah, you've told me to
You can tell these guys.
ignore some of it, not get so mad over everything, and try to stay out of trouble the best I can.
Yeah. And there are times, what was that movie we seen where that guy put that little fire in that bottle?
Oh, a Suicide Squad.
Yeah. The guy with the bad temper, he just learned to put it in a bottle. He made a lot of mistakes. El Diablo. So some of the programs down there is like a compass program, meaning the direction that you're going to go in life. Been very good. We went to the Putnam Museum. He's got a resume going on a computer system down there. They have like what you want to be when you get older. Right now he wants to like enjoy some kind of sports as he gets older. But there are other jobs along there, and even the athletes that have to get the education along the way. So he's got that going, and the direction he goes could probably go any type of ways. But if I made it, he can make it. And the people down there that I've met, I'm just a volunteer, and we came here short notice. Sorry for being nervous. I thought I was good at this. But the people down there that I've met and the activities they do are the real deal.
Wonderful. And yeah, just, wrapping that up, Big Brothers, Big Sisters, what we are trying to teach kids is resilience. He learned to be resilient. We know that kids have that in them, but a lot of times they need that extra support. They need that extra adult. And that's really the mission of what we're trying to do, give them that extra support so they can get through whatever it is that life throws at them. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you. Seeing no questions, our next presenter is Economic Development Fund.
Hello, my name is Laura Berkeley, and I'm the Economic Development Analyst here at the City of Davenport. Thank you for your support for our 3 programs, the Small Business Loan Program, the Downtown Davenport Jobs Program, and the Facade Program. I'll tell you a little bit of what we've been doing this fiscal year. We had some reallocation of funds from you that we have been doing facade projects with, and it's been very successful. So those have been being completed over the summer and fall. We have a few that we're going to be finished in the spring, and then we're going to come out with a second round of the facade program this spring as well. We did increase our interest rate to 2%, and we did our first loan under that 2%, so just this January. We are working on increasing our relationship with the Small Business Development Center. That's Joel Young's at the Eastern Iowa Community College. He's driving some small businesses to us, and he's counseling them to make sure that they're economically and financially set up well. We're also working on marketing our programs. We're doing that by interviewing some of our more recent loan clients. Those include Graveyard Productions in the Village, Brood Books, which was one of our facade projects in Hilltop, Honey Creek Gems on Washington, that's a retail. Panini and Friends just opened in the downtown area, Nally's is another restaurant on the West End, and Tap on It in downtown. So these cover all three of our programs, and they represent a wide variety of the types of businesses that we help, as well as locations. And we're doing that in the form of interviews, and so there will be video and photos, and we're going to put those on Facebook and the city's website, and hopefully it will be ready for CDBG week, so we can show it during that. And then I wanted to give you a little bit about our successes. Over the past 3 years, we have a 95% success rate for our loans. So of the 21 loans that we've made, 20 of them have been successful and are currently in repayment. And then we also have a larger project we're working on that's not quite ready to bring forward, but it will be a larger funding project that we are working on.
All right, thank you. Are there any questions? Seeing none, we will move on to Housing Rehabilitation and Neighborhood Revitalization Fund.
I'm just going to time myself. So my name is Dawn Cameron. I'm the lead financial specialist for the city of Davenport, and I'm here representing our housing programs, which you fund. Thank you. I do have some handouts that Heather will hand out to you at the end. And on that handout, I went ahead and I broke down our programs because as you have requested and identified needs and gaps in services, we in the housing program have responded to that. So we've grown a little bit. So we have our accessibility exterior grant, our owner rehab loan program, our down payment assistance grant, our urban homestead program, and then also working infrastructure around that, supporting that housing as well. So we have that for you, but what I wanted to kind of highlight is one of our urban homestead projects. We did unfortunately have a foreclosure that we needed to obtain and get that home back. We went ahead and we did a rehab on it. It's 1501 Eastern. We went ahead and had a couple of areas and issues we needed to work on, and one of those was we had a non-conforming addition that was on the back of it so that our new homeowners wouldn't have trouble in the future. We went ahead and we removed that and made it a conforming structure. We also were able to add a half bath in the master. We had enough space, so it'll be a nice 3-bedroom home for a family. And one of the neat things is when I hear all these stories, it's hard for me to sit there with the timer because spending a good portion of my history in community service, you see all these community services and you see all these households going through all of these transformations and then getting to that point where they're working and they're thriving and they're surviving. Well, why not home ownership? And that's where we can come in on that affordable end. We can come in on the down payment assistance. We can come in on our urban homestead program. We can also come in with our owner-occupied rehab loan, as well. And so it's kind of nice to see that full circle with our programs too.
Thank you. Do any members have any questions? Seeing none, we'll move on to CDBG staff and operations.
Hello, I'm Heather Johnson. I am the Community Development Resource Manager for the City of Davenport. And I've been working with the CDBG administration for already 8 years, if you can believe. And in that time, we've seen a lot of changes. So the regulations, they're not written in stone. They do change over time. And what we've seen these last few years is a decrease in funding, but those regulations have not decreased. In fact, they have increased. So we are getting a lot more mandates that come down from HUD of things that we need to do. So we've had some financial changes in the regulations. Well, those impact not just our finance department, but we have to reach out to our subrecipients and talk them through those changes. We've seen a more of an emphasis on reporting more frequently, being more in-depth and detailed in those reports, and all of that has to be talked through with our subrecipients, communicated to them, answering their questions, and then when they do submit reports, I think some of the subrecipients are still behind me, and they know that we get back with them after their reports come in to help maybe clarify things that aren't quite to be expected or aren't quite clear. Because what I think people should recognize is that everything that the subrecipients report to us goes directly into our reporting system for the federal government. And so those numbers have to be accurate, they have to be up to date, those narratives have to be meaningful, so that somebody who has never even heard of Davenport, Iowa in Washington, D.C. can pull a report and see those numbers and read that narrative and understand what the program is doing. And so we work with them on that to help make it clear. And, you know, all of that takes time. It takes resources. Every year, you know, I come and say, we've heard all of these stories, and none of that would happen if we didn't do the admin requirements. So HUD says we have to do planning. HUD says we have to do a 5-year plan, an annual plan. We have to do monitoring. We have to do environmental reviews. We have to do quarterly reporting and annual reporting. And to do that, we need computers to work on, and we need phones to use, and we need a legal department to consult and a finance department to do the payouts. And so the CDBG grant pays a small portion of all of those things, because those are things that have to be done in order to have Big Brothers Big Sisters and Project Renewal and all of our other agencies be able to do the work that they do. And so those are what the admin dollars go for. They are provided by HUD and expected that by HUD that they will be used to support the program, and that's what we do. Those are kind of the periodic things, the daily, monthly, annual things. But what we also see are things that come down every few years that we have to do. And we are entering a phase of updating some of those every few years reports as we enter into this next program year. So HUD had a requirement for a plan that's supposed to be completed every 5 years called the Affirmatively Furthering Fair Housing Plan. And we've been on the path of getting a consultant and working through all of the public input that would be required for that. And lo and behold, just as we were about to launch that initiative, HUD changed it to a different kind of plan called an analysis of impediments. So we have to now kind of switch gears, and it's the admin staff that takes that on. There's nobody else here at the city that's doing those requirements. Likewise, every few years we're required to do an accessibility study to ensure that not just the city's programs, but also all of our subrecipients are operating their programs in a way that is accessible to those with a variety of disabilities. So that could be physical disabilities, that could be language barriers, communication issues. And so what we need to do is make sure that federal dollars are providing programs that are truly available to everyone in our community that would want to access them. And so we have to update our accessibility study in this next year because it's been a few years since we've done it. So those are the things that the federal dollars go for in the administration. And what we always try to communicate is none of these are choices. We cannot choose not to do these things. We appreciate that the CAC has supported us with administration dollars from the grant, but those things have to be done. And if we don't pay for them, we wouldn't get any of the money. So that's all I have for you.
All right, thank you. Any questions? Seeing none, I want to thank all the presenters tonight, and you are free to leave if you'd like, or you can stay for the remainder of the meeting. The next order of business is review and approve the minutes of the January 8th, 2018 meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved. So moved.
Second?
Second.
Thank you. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. The next order of business is review and accept the financial report. Do I have a motion to approve the financial report? Tammy, thank you.
Second.
Second. Thank you, Mark. Yes, Heather.
I just want to clarify on the agenda, it does say it's the financial report through November. That is incorrect. It is the financial report through December. And I apologize. I must have missed that when I made the agenda. So this is the most up-to-date version.
Thank you, Heather. Is there any other discussion? All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. Next order of business is other business. Heather?
Just a reminder for all of you, you have the email versions of the scoring matrix. You have the paper versions. If you prefer to fill them out on paper, I provided you with 2 copies of them. You don't have to fill out both copies, but some people like to have kind of a scratch paper version. Those are due back by February 23rd, which is a week from Friday. We recognize, because we had to cancel last week's meeting, that that's kind of a quick turnaround to get it back in just a little more than a week. So if you do need a few extra days, after that, try to get it back by that next Wednesday if you could. That will just give us a couple days to follow up with anybody if we have any questions, or with all of you CAC members if we have a question about your form or if we didn't get one back. So it's appreciated by next Friday, but if you can't get it in by next Friday, try to get it in by that following Wednesday. The other update is just a reminder that we have the March 5th CAC meeting. That is actually going to be the allocation meeting. So make sure that you all come prepared to vote on recommendations. Also, we will have the light supper that we usually have starting at 5:30 before the meeting for the CAC members.
All right. Thank you, Heather. The next order of business is adjournment. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Second.
Second. Thank you, Fred. All in favor? Aye. Opposed? Motion carries.